Thank you very much for joining us again and welcome back. The Nigerian Senate says it will no longer watch without action as the activities of illegal miners deprive the federal government of significant revenue. And for the Senate, the time to put an end to this menace is now, as illegal mining fuels food and physical insecurity across the country. Over the weekend, Chairman, Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, Senator Samson Ekong, expressed commitment of the Red Chamber to fostering a safe and profitable mining sector when he led other members of the committee on a visit to Governor Sani Bago of Niger State. The visit to the governor by the committee was in continuation of its investigation into a collapsed mining pit in the state where about 30 lives were reportedly lost. And that's what we discuss now. We bring in via Zoom lead consultant at Mark Beat Transnational Limited, Adesegun Oshibanjo. Thanks for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a delight to be here.
Indeed. Welcome. Good to see you. So what do you think about this intervention by the Senate?
Let me proceed like this. One, I really do not know why it has taken ages, forever, for the Senate to wade into this. Nigeria has been a monoculture-based economy for ages. And by now, I expect we'll begin to see our budget assumptions raised on international prices of solid minerals, not just raising budget assumptions on international oil prices alone. What we have in terms of solid minerals in Nigeria is, I will tell you, more than sufficient to run our budget. I believe a lot that our budget can run on solid minerals. Now, when we're talking about illegal mining, there are two categories of illegal mining. The first is the artisanal mining, and the second is the large-scale illegal mining. Now, what's meant by artisanal mining? Artisanal mining is just the basic mining by the locals, the communities, using basic tools, okay, for them to earn a living, to survive. Yes. Again, if we now look at the large-scale illegal mining, we're talking the mining done by the big boys. We're talking about the mining done by people that are highly politically connected, not just that, in collaboration with foreigners, again, using high-tech equipment. So large-scale illegal mining is not just done by
Mr. Adesegun. All right, we seem to be having some... All right, Mr. Adesegun, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Kindly backtrack a bit because we lost your audio at a point due to network. Can you just backtrack so we can get a sense of what you are saying now?
Okay. Hello?
Carry on, please.
Shit. Am I still on?
Yes, you are.
You're on. You're on. Just do a quick recap of what you were saying earlier on, and then you can continue.
Okay. Like I said, there is the regulatory. Okay, there is regulatory framework done already about to regulate artisanal mining. Okay, now when you put a regulatory framework for artisanal mining, what revenue do you intend to derive from there? What revenue do you expect to get? It's not much. Now, when you're talking regulatory frameworks, I expect the regulatory frameworks will be put in place for the large-scale illegal mining, because that is where the big box is. Head box is there. Enough funds to run our economy, to grow our economy is there. But we just left this in the hands of the big boy to begin to live the life, the larger than life lifestyle, and they begin to enjoy our commonwealth alone. So what regulatory framework are you putting in place just for the artisanal miners only? That would never get us anywhere. It's gotten to the point that you see planes flying into places.
Hello, Mr. Oshibanjo.
The highly, yes, please. I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, but all right, continue. Continue, please.
Okay. So like I said, when planes fly into places like Zamfara, what does that tell you? That should not be happening. Again, they don't. Like I said, how would planes fly in if there is no international connivance and all that in all of this? And see, they've been able to put some sort of decoy in place, which is, security unrest. You will find out that in all these places, security unrest is very prominent. There are banditry, not just that insurgency in all of these places. All these insurgency you see everywhere, they are decoys. So what I expect the Senate to have done, the Senate should have convened this meeting long ago. They should have intervened and ensure that we have the proper regulatory frameworks this time to ensure that all large-scale illegal mining are captured and diverted to the federal revenue account.
All right, Mr. Oshibajo, of course. Recently, the Senate Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals, Jonathan Gbevui, disclosed that Nigeria is costing Nigeria 9 billion naira. The activities of illegal mining is costing Nigeria 9 billion naira in revenue, dollars rather, $9 billion in revenue annually. Now, with all you have said, and in tandem with the federal government trying to ensure that the activities of illegal miners are curbed, what can be done, especially for those in the host communities, so that they can easily report these issues that happen in their communities?
Okay. Now, let me start with the $9 billion you're talking about. For me, that is grossly understated.
Okay.
When I say the kind of that can run our economy can come from this sector, it's not in the range of $9 billion US. It is far, far, far. If you ask me, I'll be looking in the range of $100 billion at least from this sector alone. Now, again, what can be done on the community side is more of community involvement and engagement, education and awareness. We need, all these communities, there's a need for the Senate to visit, the Senate committee to visit these communities and address them, make them aware of the implications of illegal mining and secure their buy-in for partnership so that they will be able to, we will create this kind of partnership, this kind of network. It makes it easy for them to reach out to the security operators of the country and give them useful information that they can work with. Then also there has to be sincerity on the part of the government to really, really capture large-scale illegal mining. There has to be that courage. And like I always call our president, the 3C president. When I say 3C, I mean competence, capability, and courage. Though I can expand the 3C to get into the 5C, where I will also add character and commitment.
All right.
So far, our president has demonstrated this, but he needs to still go far. What we're talking about here is a high-powered syndicate. It's a powerful syndicate, powerful international syndicate. There is international angle to what we're talking about here, and this is why the president has got to demonstrate just more than courage. It's not only for the National Assembly, the Senate to resolve. Honestly, it has to be a solid partnership between the National Assembly and, for me, this is the best way to bring to the communities involved.
Talking about the communities involved, what are your expectations that this investigation, this intervention, I don't know how you see it, but what are your expectations that is going to be in-depth, especially in areas where we find and hear that these communities themselves are even complicit in illegal mining? All right, Mr. Adeshegun, I understand we have to go on a break. Kindly hold that thought, and then we'll continue when we return. Stay with us. Thank you very much for joining us again on TVC Breakfast. So we've been speaking with Mr. Adeshegun Oshibanjo over the past couple of minutes about the Senate's intervention to curb the hazardous trend of illegal mining. And I asked just before we went on a break how assured you are that this intervention will address the said culpability on the part of communities and even security agencies. What do you make of that?
Okay, before the break, where we were was, I said there has to be a good cooperation between the president and the National Assembly, the Senate, to say. There has to be great collaboration, teamwork, because no matter what the Senate legislates, it's up to the presidency to implement to the letter. And of course, before the legislation, I expect great input from the presidency into the legislation, into the laws. We're talking about the regulatory framework. This time around, this regulatory framework should be tighter and done in such a way that the government will be able to take over the accrued revenue from illegal mining. It's good to legalize all this, but do we have the will to actually take over this sector? This sector has been like this over the years. It's been extremely difficult to take over this sector. And like I said, the international connection makes this very, very complex. So it takes a very courageous president and bold National Assembly, because a lot of the big boys are here. They're very well connected. They are here. The international community, they are also involved. So this is where we find ourselves right now.
And talking about structure, we know that there have been attempts by the federal governments to formalize the operations of artisanal mining, but that hasn't seemed to, we've not been able to get some form of breakthrough in that regard. What would you be recommending moving forward?
Sincerely, like I said, there is a need for the Senate committee to actually, not just the Senate committee alone, it should be a joint committee of the Senate and the presidency to visit all these communities and do a very good engagement. I tell you, when you come to sit with me and walk the talk with me, it makes life easier. You broker tough issues. You get the community buy-in. You get the community support. You get all the intel you need from the community when you show up. Like I told somebody, there was a time we had an issue, but I mean that organization refused to show up. But the day they showed up, all the complex issues got resolved that day. So that principle of showing up is what I would strongly suggest to the Senate, to the Senate and the presidency. By the time they go on site, there will be more revelations and there will be greater insights into what can be done to take over. But I tell you, for me, artisanal mining is not really much of an issue because really, what value, what amount of are we talking about here? I would rather be more concerned because, see, regulate artisanal mining, okay, and let the communities breathe. Let them be well. Let them enjoy life. But regulate artisanal mining. That is all that the community needs. The real problem is the large-scale illegal mining. That is where the Senate focus should be. Because there's not much coming from artisanal mining, that's the truth. But what comes from large-scale illegal mining is more than enough to run our economy. By now, I expect the Ministry of Solid Minerals to have come out with a lot of policies to ensure that the revenue from the sector is completely captured and diverted to the federal allocation, to the federal revenue account. By now, we should no longer be on the monoculture economy. We should be on oil and solid minerals. They are bound heavily up north. And we know this. If a plane can land in Zamfara to load gold, God, what are we talking about? We're talking about humongous funds here that can run our economy. For me, like I said, I'm still insisting, large-scale illegal mining is where the focus of the Senate should be. And artisanal mining be regulated and left for the communities to live, to enjoy life, because, it's in their domain. That's my take on this.
Okay. So in talking about illegal mining, and you talked about the fact that it's a real problem, do you have a sense that despite the fact that there's talks about the issues of illegal mining and how to curb it, do you still think, or do you have a sense that the federal government is just paying lip service to this issue of illegal mining rather than practically addressing it?
Sorry, I didn't get your question well, please.
Do you have a sense, or do you think that the government is just paying lip service to the issues of illegal mining rather than actually addressing it?
Sincerely, you took the words out of my mouth. So I would rather say no. I won't say this administration. I will say successive administrations have been paying lip service to illegal mining. But because I've seen some sparks from this president, Omolodo Ide, like I love to call him, I've seen some good sparks from him. And I believe he has got what it takes to deliver the solid mineral sector. But he has got to really stay right on it. Because I tell you, well, nothing's funny. But this is one gold mine that we're just sitting on top of for nothing. A gold mine that can help our situation and better our lot. Now we're all groaning. But with this, with the solid mineral sector, a lot of reprieve and succor can come our way. Yes, you are correct, lip service, but I won't put that to this administration. It's been subsequent administration. That's the truth. They've been paying lip service. They've not done anything strong. And they have allowed insecurity. You know, the decoy they put in place, insecurity, got all of them. It was insecurity they kept chasing after. But meanwhile, this insecurity is a decoy so that you will not, get to disturb their large-scale illegal mining activities. For me, this is how it is. This is my viewpoint.
All right.
All right. That would be a fine place to leave our conversation. We thank you very much for speaking with us, Mr. Adesegun Osinbajo, who is the lead consultant at MACBA Transnational Limited. Thanks again for your time and have a great day.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Have a great day as well.
Indeed. And still ahead on the program,